Welcome everybody, my name is Rai Hansrani, co-founder of Step 2 Real Estate. Today we're here with a very good friend of ours, Shab from Cornerstone Marketing. Welcome Shab.
Thank you for having me here.
So we wanted to change things up a little bit. Normally we have developers come and talk about their developments, but we wanted to look at it from a different angle, from a marketing company point of view, and also about your company, because in the last few years you've really taken the market by storm.
Thank you.
So we'd like to talk a little bit about your company, if you could just...
Absolutely, I'll make it as brief as possible. For the short duration that we've been in the business, which is around 4 years now, we've been blessed to be able to work with some of the best developers in the city. At the initial stage of us trying to think about branding a company and a name, we looked at what made us different. What made us different was that we look at a very academic approach as to analyzing things and taking a very systematic way in bringing projects to market.
Right.
So hence the name Cornerstone Marketing. Cornerstone is the initial stone in the foundation of anything you build. So that's how the name came about. And then that speaks to who we are and how we're different from others.
So for the company, there's two of you, right? Yourself.
That's correct. It's myself and my partner Johnson Chang. The both of us started the company again 4 years ago. He was a mentor of mine for numerous years,
yes,
and a wonderful partner to have. And we have a very bright future ahead of us, seeing how things are unfolding.
Right. So what are the sort of things, just for our viewers that don't know, a lot of times when we go to the builder site, our clients assume that they're dealing with a builder, but it's actually the marketing company that does all the background work and all the sales. So
absolutely, and it's very smart that you bring that up, mainly because what we want to do is be an extension of our client, which would be the developer. Mm-hmm. And if you get that feel, then we're doing the right work.
Right.
We represent the developer. We are working in a very strategic way where we help with project planning, project marketing, and sales management of it. And again, when you do come into any sales center that is operated by our team, we really try to develop a relationship that's on behalf of the developer, essentially, because we are promoting their brand, not our own.
So you're not really tied down to one particular developer, you work with many?
Many, absolutely. We work with various developers. I mean, from the time that we started, we were blessed to work with one of the best brands in the city. Love the company, Mankis Developments. They've been around for 3 generations, yes, well over 65 years now in the business. If anybody's been in the business, in the condo market, they would know who they are. Yeah. They're one of the developers who's evolved Yonge and Sheppard, North York, when at the time when the market was in a different stage. And they've persevered through that market and have done phenomenally well. They're also one of the developers who built the Four Seasons Hotel downtown Toronto, one of the high-end buildings of the city. Right. So they have definitely made a mark in the city, and many look up to.
And one of the developments that everybody knows downtown is Harbour Plaza. So
absolutely, right.
You're very heavily involved in that.
Right, so Harbour Plaza was a approximately 1,400 unit project, 2 towers, a very comprehensive design, and I like to call it the Mankis way of doing things, because they do very well, they do a very good job planning things, and they do comprehensive designs. What I mean by that is that they may have 2 towers sitting on one podium, but a very nice component of retail, because they do have a massive retail arm as a company, and they bring that all together, building a perfect fabric of unified design and project where many people enjoy living in their buildings.
Right. So some of the other developments that you've been involved in, if you could just touch on those? Absolutely.
Another developer we've been working with is Fram Building Group, which is in your backyard in the Mississauga, Port Credit neighborhood. Second generation family as well. They've done very good work around the city, mostly around the Port Credit area. We had the pleasure of marketing Shops on Belmas, the first phase, on their behalf. My partner Johnson looked after that. It's a phenomenal project. Cadillac Fairview was the partner on that site.
I remember.
And multi-phase master plan community. Subsequent to that, we had the pleasure of working with them on a project called Fairview Park, located on Sheppard and Don Mills, another multi-phased master plan community. It's enjoyable to do master plan community, which I'm sure we'll get to talking about Transit City shortly. Yes. But it's interesting because it's a complete story, it's a complete neighborhood you're developing, and it requires many consultants coming together and creating a unified vision. And I think that's what's important. And developers like Fram, Mankis, Senecord, and several others really have a good grasp of that. And it's a tough thing to execute, but when you execute, you deliver a very good product.
I think a prime example of that is you had a project called Southside Condos.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, when we first went there, Jolly and I, because it's an old area, but
Right.
underdeveloped. There's not a lot of new condos.
Right.
We just couldn't understand the demographics of it. But having spent some time with you, we were able to go back and have a lot of our agent friends sell the site.
Absolutely. I mean, we look at ourselves in a way as an investor. Let's think of it that way. When we're approached, or we approach a developer, say we are interested in working on a location that they have that they want to bring to market, we take a step back to truly analyze what that area is about.
Yes.
And Southside was done by Malibu Investments, another very good company to work with, a very good product and very much hands-on. Southside is located at Wilson and Allen Road, just one stop, subway stop north of Yorkdale Mall, which you guys have done a lot of business there.
Yeah.
And for that location is undergoing significant change. And the way we looked at it was that it was the initial stage of the Toronto-York subway extension, the TYSSC, which is now reaching out to Vaughan. So that's the Wilson subway station, which is steps away from where Southside is, and our feature phases that are slated to come out this year as well. It is a differentiating factor because you have the subway station, but an area that is slated to grow. I think a lot of people, what they should be looking at is where the growth is coming, patterns of growth. For instance, I always make an analogy between real estate and securities market and industry, and say that anytime you're investing in securities, you're looking for growth. Similarly, you should be looking the same way when you're buying real estate. And I think there's ways to differentiate yourself, and we've been blessed to work with some of the best developers in the city, but we also be taking locations on where they're close to transit. So through thick and thin, you will always outperform your competitors.
I think with us, my partner and myself, we've been in the condos, specializing in condos for now nearly 12 years. The biggest thing for us is knowing the information on the area, really digging down and trying to find out where the best sites are, etc. You do a lot of that analysis? Absolutely.
I mean, for instance, again, we'll get to the point of talking about Transit City, but for instance, we do a lot of digging to find out, which ward is a project at, and how much funding does that area have? What's the population? What's the demographic of people that live there? What's the income? So to really understand, if you create this form of product, a home, what size should it be? What kind of product should you have? So we do a lot of research, in fact, in-house, to be able to consult and deliver the right message. We're not just here to sell a project and move on.
Right.
We've been very different and blessed that a lot of developers have worked with us from the get-go. They've been with us till today. And I hope they continue to stay working with us. We really, truly spend time researching, providing information, not only to our clients, but also to our partners, which are the agents and brokers like yourself, to ensure that what we see in the vision, you believe in it, and your clients believe in it, and then grow with that vision.
Right. So having working with relationships with a lot of developers and really digging down into the numbers and looking at different neighborhoods and stuff, where do you think the growth rates are in regards to if we're looking at different markets? Yeah,
I mean, for the last few years, Toronto's done extremely well. Anybody that's been in the market or has had some sort of moment in the real estate market, whether you're initial round of development or you're a contractor, you're employee, some relation you have to real estate, you've done very well. And I think the growth will continue to go forward, and mainly because of the difficulties developers are facing in finding a good location and good land. Scarcity economics, essentially the basis of it, right? Supply and demand, as well as just the natural evolution of where Toronto's going. You're looking at specific areas where the government's now getting involved and saying, this is where we want to spend money, this is where we want you to focus, and we want you to grow. When that initially happens, developers start, turning their heads and paying attention to those locations and looking for good locations of developments to bring onto market. On that note, I think the market will be positive, will continue to do well, and I think it will be stable growth going forward. I mean, again, we're blessed because we do a fair share of the market sales in the GTA, and we have the ability to not only speak to professionals like yourself, see how much business you guys do, where you're doing, get your feedback, but also we have the flip side to you as having the consultants, developers, the people that are doing the land transactions, and the consultants, engineers, tradesmen, and getting a full scope and understanding what is really happening. So for us, if you look at it as a security again, as a stock, we would have a fair understanding of what's happening in the market, and we would be able to maneuver and decide which locations, what area to invest in, what areas to sell, at what kind of product to deliver to the market.
Now, if we look at downtown, we've got so much growth, so much building, but with infrastructure is starting to catch up, or is needs to catch up a lot more.
Yes.
So that sort of opens up other areas outside of the Toronto area. The challenges we're having is certain areas, if we look at Mississauga, we don't really have all the infrastructure to move people, because cities are about moving people from one space to another. So where do you see the next growth or movement, extensions of the subway lines?
Absolutely. I think we would have to step back and look at the green belt. And that's really, I think, till 2030, 2035, that's when they're going to be reviewing and establishing. And that came from the UK from the early 1900s. That's where we got that concept and policy to create intensification and eliminate urban sprawl. I think the city and the government, all three levels of the government, from the city to provincial government to federal government, all three are actually paying attention to as the market changes. I mean, we do have the subway line right now, Toronto, that's very active and highly utilized. And you're seeing the government seeing the need for a greater expansion. And you're seeing the LRT crosstown in the Eglinton heading east and west. So you've seen that expansion. But looking up and going a bit further north, you've seen that change, that from the downtown core, moving slowly outwards towards the North York, from the 416 to the 905. You're seeing projects like Southside, that's part of the initial stage of expansion for the subway to the Vaughan Metro Centre, is where the city's seeing it. And they're spending over $3 billion in expanding that. What I heard was they spent around $200 million for the Metro Centre, Vaughan Metro Centre subway station. It's uncommon to spend that much money in just a simple station, let's say. But in this case, they have a future vision as to expansion. So I see the market continue moving forward with it, but the government's paying attention to it. And keep in mind that the subway extension that's expanding, the Toronto-York subway extension, let's call it, that's expanding to Vaughan, is the first one we've had in about 45 years that's crossing municipal boundaries.
Right.
So it's extremely important for us. It's not, it's not Shanghai or Hong Kong where they can get subways done in a matter of several years. I think we're not there yet, but we are looking as that being the next stage for us in the future years to come.
Now, when you look at the master plan, there's already, or you drive by it, you already see Fortune 500 companies there already, or building.
Absolutely.
Like Pricewaterhouse, KPMG.
Yeah.
So there's already a lot of work happening there, but we haven't seen much residential come to that area.
That's right. I mean, we look at. I always say to anybody in real estate, say, if you want to follow large growth,
yes,
follow the banks,
right.
Follow the Canadian banks, and follow the accounting firms. They're very well in tune because they're involved in the fundings in many aspects. They have their hands in many different parts of industries, and follow the industry, follow the financial companies, follow where they're going, because they essentially are the fund managers of what's going to grow and what's not. And with respect to the PwC, Deloitte, KPMG, they're moving. Not only do they have a foothold downtown Toronto, now they're moving towards the 905 areas like Vaughan. And you're seeing them already having a KPMG building there. PwC will be there. RBC has a site there already, and many more will come. And that speaks to future development, growth, and intensification of population and neighborhood intensity.
Now, we have an interesting site coming up with called Transit City.
That's correct.
With Cedric Developments.
Absolutely.
You've been working with them for quite a while now. I've worked with yourself on quite a few of their projects. So just to name a few, recently Grid Condos.
Yes, very successful.
Yes, Access Condos, which basically nobody launches a development at Christmas time, but you guys did, and you sold out.
Yes, thank you.
So now we're heading into Transit City.
Yes.
So could you tell us a little bit about that?
Centacor as a developer, as a development company, they've been very much focused in the core downtown areas. And this speaks to their change of philosophies. This speaks to what I'm talking about in terms of market changes. Now they're venturing out into Vaughan, and they're seeing great opportunity there. And so they should, in fact, because there is a lot involved and a lot of change happening in the Vaughan Metro Centre area. And they're a great development company. They pay attention to details. They pay attention to what people want. They pay attention to importance of a home, being a condo in this case. They pay attention to it. Any product they bring to market, we work very thoroughly with them to bring something that's an extension of your own home. So people really enjoy living in their buildings, which I think is important in this marketplace, because high-rise density is fairly new to Toronto, but now it's an emerging market, and a lot of people are gravitating towards it, and it's in fact a great place to be, whether you're an investor or someone that wants to occupy, would want to live in a building. So venturing out to the 905 is very strategic because they're seeing a downtown being created there as well.
Right. And for this Transit City, they're also working with Smart Centre.
Absolutely. I mean, it's always great to be associated with a company like that. They've been around for decades, and they're very successful, and I believe they're a publicly traded company. So there's very strong backing there. But jumping into Transit City a bit, but I understand you've already had the pleasure of interviewing Shaman's branding president, Centerport there. But jumping into Transit City with making it kind of short, but talking about the importance, key elements is that, you know, talking about our background being involved in master plan communities, that is extremely important, that intersection of Jane and Highway 7. The Jane and Highway 7 is broken into 4 categories. You know, from the northwest being where Transit City is to the northeast, southeast, southwest. The subway station, the transit hub, so let's call this the mobility hub of Vaughan, is located steps from Transit City. Any future development coming or any current development will not have the accessibility that Transit City will offer. It will be one of a kind. So once we bring this project to market, once we sell it, it won't happen again. Right. It's the only time you're going to be able to have a building that's so close to a subway station. So it's a massive opportunity to be able to purchase in this project.
Excellent. Can you tell us a little bit about the actual building itself and the amenities? Because they've done some stuff here that is unheard of.
Absolutely. I mean, in any project we or our clients want to bring to market, we look at what is important. I want to shift my business away, and I want to shift buildings away from traditional product planning. I want to shift into something that's new, that's actually practical. Mm-hmm. And how do you know it's practical? Well, you have to sell it, you have to build it, and you have to live in it to understand it. You know, if you live in a home, you wouldn't. But if you live in a condominium, you may go through the experience to understand it. And in this case, for Transit City, I think we're hitting the nail on the head, because we're bringing this 5-star lobby experience with the involvement of Buka, with one of the high-end restaurants of downtown Toronto, into the Vaughan neighborhood. And that gives you that feel and that energy that everybody would want within the building, but at a very low cost of the building, essentially. Yes. So you get the 5-star experience, but at an affordable price. And I think that's what's a differentiating factor in this building. But again, in terms of design of the building, very nice tall building. It'll be the tallest in Vaughan, 55 stories, nice and erect. You'll have balconies to the north and to the south, so people will be able to enjoy the outdoor exposures. And remember, Vaughan is on an elevated part of the city, so as you go up into the Oak Ridges, it just continues elevating fresh water, fresh air, clean air, I should say. Yes. And you get those opportunities to happen in areas like that.
When I first heard about the Buka restaurant and bar, I sort of thought it's really like an extension of your suite, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well said.
The minute you walk in, you know, the atmosphere's there. I think it would be somewhere where everybody would want to congregate.
Absolutely. I mean, you come up from your home, you know, if you're working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, the initial thing, for instance, my wife, she'll go and have a coffee in the morning. So whether it's a Starbucks or a Tim Hortons or what have you, people look for that experience. But having a Italian-operated Buka, true quality restaurant and, you know, 5-star experience, you have it in, you know, at the base of your building. Right. Come, sit, lounge, pull up a laptop, do your work. And as part of that component, they also have the Buka restaurant, where if you're going to want to dine and wine, you can do that within your own premise of your own building in a very good environment. So that is kind of, if you look at any downtown projects or any downtown 5-star building, hotel concept buildings, it's the same concept.
Yes, yes.
Right? But it has an angle to it, it has a twist to it that people really speak highly of.
Now they've done something different with the amenities too as well, because a lot of times in a high building, we have small gyms, yes, and we end up getting memberships at other gyms, but they've done something.
Absolutely, and again, you know, in some cases, a project is confined by the footprint of the land size that you have in the footprint or building envelope, and it may not lend itself to giving you a comprehensive amenity package. In this case, we have the opportunity, with the involvement of Smart REIT, having a YMCA just to the south of our building at Transit City. And with that respect, we will have a relationship to be able to allow people to use the facility from there. So it's an extension of your building, but a comprehensive, thousands and thousands of square feet of amenity space. You have from swimming pools to daycare services to complete fitness facility and many more. So it's a good opportunity to have that's right next to your building.
I know with downtown, recently in the news and stuff with schools and daycare challenges for people that live downtown.
Yeah.
This is an ideal spot if you're a young family, you work, a young professional, you work downtown. You can drop your child off. In that aspect, it's a very positive thing for a building to have.
Absolutely. I mean, what's really unique about Smart Center Place, which is the name of this master plan community, and Transit City, is that, again, is one unified group doing it. So they're able to plan this complete community, offer around 10 acres of park,
yes.
Which really helps differentiate itself, that location, from many other projects around the GTA, in fact, in Canada, and not only with the subway transport, but allow that community feel for families that have young kids, and allow them to start at a clean slate, which is interesting. Because you have the ability, anytime you do a new project, or anytime you do something new, you have the ability to research, see where the flaws are, and what's good and what's bad, and come back, create the best. And I think that's what you're going to see with this project. And I think it's extremely important for people to really do their homework and find out what is Vaughan Metro Center all about. If you are interested in this project, the Vaughan Metro Center is synonymous with Transit City. They go hand in hand. So if you're buying the VMC, I would look at it as you're buying a Transit City, but no other location. Okay?
We went to a media event and Mitch Goldhar from Smart Center spoke. And one of the things that I found really interesting was that you can build all the condos you want, all the hotels, etc. But what really brings a community together is something like a park. And there's a 1 acre park right in the center of this with a promenade, right?
Yeah, it's a city within a city, I guess you can refer to it as. And the master plan looks at several key components to have a complete neighborhood. One component is housing, which they're looking at, and Transit City is that component. They look at amenities. YMCA is one of many to come in that neighborhood that provides the amenities as required by households. A park, right? Recreational area, and you'll have that component as well. And there will be future schools in that area as well. I think it gives you the key ingredients to have the perfect recipe for success.
There's a square too. Well, in the summer they'll be doing events as well.
Absolutely. I mean, they have so much open space, and they're really giving back a lot to the community. Many developers may look at it as, okay, you should be building as much density as possible for profiting, but they're really giving a lot back to that community, truly wanting to set the tone what a master plan community should look like. And they will have a lot of open space where you can have enjoy, I guess, at your leisure.
Now, Transit City in that block is the first residential condominium to be launched. Sometime in June, or is it May?
Very good question. We're still confirming the date, but we are coming probably mid to late May 2017, which is this year. We will be coming to market quite shortly. We will be releasing information little by little as we have them ready. But we should be looking at being able to come to market completely by end of May.
And can you give us an idea of the suite size? Is there more larger units in there, smaller? How did we come to that?
Very good question. It's interesting because it's such a dichotomy, it's such a different thing to do where you have downtown to what you would have in a 905. We've done a lot of research to see what others have done.
Yes.
We've done a lot of research to determine what people want, and it'll speak for itself. I mean, we project and we hope that we're successful, and I'm hoping that we again do it right. But we are doing 80% of this building 2-bedroom and larger.
Wow!
So we're truly targeting the end user, and whether you're an investor or not, the person that should reside within the building should be the end user that's happy to be there. And that will speak results, and the outcome will speak for itself.
I find that buildings with more end users, they tend to go to all the corporate condominium meetings, etc. And in general, the building is in good health.
Yes.
And therefore, your values go up, and if you're an investor, you get great rents.
Absolutely. I mean, pre-construction condominium is an interesting industry in the sense that it really has a transitional phase from the initial group that buys it, which is the investor that buys, forecasting 4 years, 5 years ahead, and it slowly starts transitioning into the end user. If you're an end user and you can plan 4 or 5 years ahead, it'd be great to be the investor and the end user and live within the property that you have, but circumstances change. However, in this project is a bit different, where it won't change, because if your circumstances are to get you going from a smaller 1-bedroom to a 1-bedroom to 2-bedroom, we offering 80% of the product in this building as 2-bedroom larger anyhow. So we are forecasting that the people that would want to live here are going to want 2-bedroom and larger. And that's what we're offering, and you can't get much larger in 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom anyhow. So we're offering that product either way for this project.
Right. Now we're almost at the end of our interview. Is there any question that I should have asked that I forgot to ask?
No, I mean, you guys have done a wonderful job. I want to thank you for having me here. It's not often that marketing companies such as us get some showtime. But again, you guys are amazing. You guys do great work, and with a lot of very honest and with integrity. And I look forward to working on this project together.
Well, thank you very much, Shab. And thank you very much, guys, for tuning in.